You learned how to read the room before you learned how to read a book. You knew which version of your parent was walking through that door just by the sound of their footsteps. You knew when to be quiet, when to disappear, when to become whatever the moment needed you to be. And somehow, somewhere along the way, you stopped being a child. Not because you chose to, but because no one else was going to hold things together. Picture a 9-year-old sitting at the kitchen table, not doing homework, not playing, just waiting, listening to a parent cry in the next room, trying to figure out if tonight is a night they need to go in and fix it, or a night they need to pretend they didn't hear anything. That child becomes fluent in a language most adults never learn, the language of other people's pain. They learn to manage moods, to soften bad news, to carry secrets that were never theirs to carry. They grow up believing that love means making yourself useful, that their worth is measured in how well they keep the peace. And then that child becomes you. There's a name for this. Psychologists call it parentification, but forget the word. What it actually means is this. A child was asked without words to grow up too fast, to trade their childhood for a role they were never supposed to play. And here's what makes it so invisible. It doesn't always look like trauma from the outside. In fact, it often looks like maturity. People called you the responsible one, the old soul. Teachers praised you for being so level-headed. You got so good at holding things together that no one ever stopped to ask who was holding you together. That's the quiet cruelty of it. Here's the part that might stop you in your tracks. The child who learns to take care of everyone else never really learns how to receive care. Think about that for a moment. When someone offers you help, what's your first instinct? To say you're fine, to minimize it, to feel somewhere deep in your chest like accepting help makes you a burden, like needing something is somehow a weakness you haven't earned the right to have. That's not a personality trait. That's a wound. Because the child who had to be strong, who had to hold the emotional weight of a household, that child learned that their needs came last or didn't come at all. And they got so good at surviving that way that even now, as an adult, they don't know how to put their own needs first without feeling guilty about it. Maybe you became the emotional anchor for a parent going through a divorce, the one who listens to things a parent should never say to a child. Maybe you raised a younger sibling, managed the finances, talked a parent back from the edge of a breakdown at 11 years old. Or maybe it was quieter than that. Maybe it was just the constant low hum of anxiety, always scanning, always anticipating, never fully relaxed because relaxing felt dangerous. Like if you let your guard down, something would fall apart. And no one ever saw it because you were just so capable. Here's the twist that takes a moment to land. You didn't just lose your childhood, you lost the blueprint for who you actually are. Because when you spend your formative years shaping yourself around everyone else's needs, you never get the chance to ask the most important question a child is supposed to ask: what do I actually want? Not what does everyone need from me, not how do I keep things from falling apart, but what do I want? What makes me feel alive? What do I feel when no one is watching and nothing is falling apart? A lot of adults who grew up this way reach a moment, usually in their 20s or 30s, where life looks fine from the outside, but something feels profoundly hollow on the inside, like they've been living a life built around someone else's survival, and now they don't know what their own life is supposed to feel like. That hollowness isn't emptiness, it's a question waiting to be answered. If any of this reached you, there's something important to hear. What happened to you was not normal, not because it was dramatic, not because it needs to be called abuse or crisis or catastrophe, but because a child's only job is to be a child, and yours was taken from you. Maybe quietly, maybe with love, maybe without anyone even realizing it was happening. You deserved someone who made you feel safe enough to fall apart sometimes. Someone who took the weight off your shoulders instead of adding to it. Someone who let you just be little, uncertain, unfinished. You can't go back and have that, but you can stop carrying it the way you've always carried it, alone, in silence, pretending it's fine. The most radical thing a person like you can do is learn slowly and imperfectly to let someone else hold something for once. You were never meant to carry all of this by yourself. You just never had another choice. But you are not the emotional parent of the world. And maybe the most important thing you can do now is give yourself something you didn't fully receive back then: permission to be taken care of too.